The Intrepid slowed as it approached the massive space station orbiting Centauri Prime. Captain Noah Clark stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back as he watched the gleaming structure grow larger on the view screen. The Galactic Council headquarters was impressive, a sprawling collection of rings and spires that reflected the light of the nearby star. "Quite a sight," said Ambassador Lisa Turner, who stood beside him. She smoothed down her formal blue uniform. "The Earth Alliance insignia catching the light," Noah nodded. "Remember what they told us in the briefing. Don't show too much amazement. These species have had space travel for thousands of years. They expect us to be impressed." "Hard not to be," Lisa replied. "But I understand. We represent 17 human colonies now. We need to act like we belong here." The communication panel lit up. A voice spoke in perfect English, though the accent was strange and musical. "Earth vessel Intrepid, this is Centauri Control. You are cleared to dock at Bay 47C. Please follow the guide beacons." "Acknowledged, Centauri Control," Noah replied. He gestured to his pilot. "Take us in, Joe." Lieutenant Joe Foster guided the ship toward the flashing blue lights that marked their assigned docking bay. The Intrepid was the pride of the Earth fleet, a sleek, powerful vessel that represented the best of human engineering. Yet as they approached the station, Noah couldn't help but notice how small their ship looked next to the massive vessels from other worlds. "Look at that one," Lisa whispered, pointing to a ship that seemed to be made entirely of crystal, pulsing with inner light. "That's a Ventari dreadnought. Their President Zaltor probably arrived on it." Noah had studied all the major council species during the 3-month journey from Earth. The Ventari were among the oldest, a race of tall, thin, humanoids with iridescent skin who had been traveling the stars while humans were still figuring out how to make fire. They currently held the rotating presidency of the council. As the Intrepid docked, Noah turned to Lisa. "Ready to make history?" She straightened her jacket. "As ready as I'll ever be." The welcome ceremony was held in a massive hall with a ceiling that seemed to show the actual stars outside, somehow magnified and brought indoors. Hundreds of alien diplomats from the 12 major council species and dozens of minor ones mingled in the space. The air was filled with translation devices that converted the various languages into something each species could understand. Noah and Lisa stood near the entrance, trying not to stare at the incredible diversity of life forms around them. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that Noah couldn't even guess how they thought or communicated. "Ambassador Turner, Captain Clark," a voice called. A small, green-skinned alien with large eyes approached them. "I am Zil, your assigned guide. Welcome to the Galactic Council headquarters." Lisa stepped forward with a practiced smile. "Thank you, Zil. We are honored to be here representing Earth and her colonies." Yes, Zil said, blinking rapidly. "The newcomers. Very exciting. Please, follow me. The council president wishes to greet you." They followed Zil through the crowd. Noah noticed how other diplomats would glance at them, then turn to whisper to their companions. He caught fragments of conversations through his translation device. Just discovered faster than light travel. Primitive, but they learn quickly. Expanding too fast for their own good. President Zaltor stood at the center of the room, surrounded by other Ventari officials. He was taller than Noah had expected, nearly 7 feet, with skin that shifted colors slightly as he moved. His eyes were large and completely black. "Ah, the humans," Zaltor said, his voice deep and resonant. "Welcome to Centauri Prime. We are pleased that your species has finally joined the galactic community." Lisa performed the formal bow they had been taught. "Thank you, President Zaltor. Earth is grateful for this opportunity to learn from the Council's collective wisdom." Something flickered across Zaltor's face. Amusement, perhaps. "Yes, there is much your young species can learn from us. The Council has guided the development of civilizations for over 10,000 years. Noah spoke up. "We're eager to contribute as well. Humans have made significant advances in several technologies that might benefit the Council." A Ventari official beside Zaltor made a sound like quiet laughter. "How charming. The infant offers to teach." Noah felt his face grow warm, but he kept his expression neutral. Lisa smoothly continued, "We understand our place as newcomers, but we hope for productive exchanges of ideas." "Of course," Zoltor said. "You will be granted observer status, as is customary for new species. You may attend council sessions and learn our procedures." "Observer status?" Lisa asked. "We were hoping for at least provisional membership. Earth controls 17 star systems now." Several nearby aliens turned to stare at them. Zoltor's skin rippled with dark purple patterns, a sign of surprise or displeasure. Noah couldn't tell which. 17 systems in less than a century, Zoltor said. "Such rapid expansion is concerning. The Council carefully manages colonization to prevent conflicts and ensure sustainable development. As observers, you will learn our protocols." "When might we be eligible for voting rights?" Lisa pressed. An aide approached Zoltor and whispered something. The president nodded. "Please excuse me. Duty calls. Zil will show you to your quarters and explain the schedule for tomorrow's session." With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Noah and Lisa standing awkwardly among the crowd. Their assigned quarters were comfortable but small, clearly designed for less important delegations. After Zil left them, Lisa paced the common area while Noah checked for listening devices. "They're treating us like children," Lisa said quietly, once Noah gave her the all-clear signal. "Worse," Noah replied. "Like pets who learned a new trick. Did you see how they reacted when you mentioned our 17 systems?" Lisa nodded. "They're afraid of how fast we're growing, but giving us observer status only? That puts us below at least 30 other species here." "I spoke with a few representatives while you were talking to that Krell diplomat," Noah said. "The Council operates on a tiered system. The founding species, like the Ventari, have more votes than newer members. Some races have been observers for over a century." Lisa sat down heavily. "So we're expected to wait in line, even though we have more ships and colonies than half the voting members." "That's not even the worst part," Noah continued. "I learned that resource rights, trade routes, colonization permits, they're all allocated based on your status. As observers, we'll be last in line for everything. They want to control our expansion," Lisa realized. "Keep us dependent on their approval." Noah nodded grimly. "Tomorrow we'll attend the first full session. Let's see what else we can learn before we make any decisions." The council chamber was a vast amphitheater, with seats arranged in concentric rings. Noah and Lisa were shown to seats in the uppermost ring, far from the central speaking platform where President Zoltor opened the session. The first hours were tedious. Reports on trade disputes, resource allocations, and minor border adjustments. Noah noticed that whenever smaller species raised concerns, they were quickly overruled by the older council members. During a recess, Lisa approached a group of representatives seated in their section. "Excuse me, I'm Ambassador Turner from Earth." A blue-skinned humanoid turned to her. "Frank Williams, Solaran Republic. This is my colleague, Grace Martinez. You're the new observers, right?" "That's right," Lisa said. "How long has your species been part of the council?" Frank and Grace exchanged looks. "We've been observers for 43 years, Grace said. "The Solarans developed faster than light travel about a century ago." 43 years? Noah joined the conversation. "With no voting rights?" Frank lowered his voice. "The system doesn't work like they advertise. Observer status is a way to keep new species in check while extracting what's valuable from them." Before they could continue, the session resumed. The next item made Noah sit up straight. A discussion of protective oversight for regions bordering human space. After the session, Noah sent an encrypted message back to Earth, using their most secure channel. "Admiral Richardson, first day, at Council complete. Situation worse than anticipated. Humans viewed as primitive upstarts to be controlled, not partners. Council structure designed to keep newcomers subordinate for centuries. Recommend initiating Protocol Omega. Will continue gathering intelligence. Clark out." As he sent the message, Noah didn't know that this was the beginning of the end for the old Galactic Council. The humans had arrived expecting partnership. They would leave having changed everything. Admiral Kelly Richardson stood in the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. The message from Captain Clark played again on the large screen before her. The room was silent as the other military and political leaders absorbed the information. "So they're treating us like children," said Defense Secretary Paul Ward, his voice tight with anger. "Just as we suspected," Kelly replied, moving to a control panel. She placed her palm on the scanner, then entered a complex code. The wall on the far side of the room slid open, revealing a hidden chamber. "Time to activate Protocol Omega." The group walked into the secret room where dozens of scientists and engineers worked at advanced terminals. Holographic displays showed technologies far beyond what humanity had revealed to the galaxy. "How soon can we deploy Phase 1? Kelly asked. Dr. Heather Morrison, Chief of Scientific Development, looked up from her work. "The quantum communication network is ready. We can activate it across all 17 colonies within 24 hours. And the Solaris project? 80% complete. We'll be ready when you give the word." Kelly nodded. "The Council thinks we're technological infants who got lucky with faster-than-light travel. Let's keep them thinking that, for now." On Centauri Prime, Noah and Lisa spent the next 2 weeks attending Council sessions. Each day they learned more about how the system worked and how it was designed to keep power concentrated among the founding species. "Look at that," Lisa whispered, as they watched a vote on resource allocation for a distant sector. The Ventari proposal passed easily, giving their corporations exclusive mining rights in a system that was much closer to Solaran territory. Frank Williams, their new Solaran friend, slumped in his seat. After the session, he joined them in a quiet corner of the diplomatic lounge. "That system should have been ours," he said, his blue skin darkening with emotion. "We've been developing the technology to safely mine those asteroids for years. Now, the Ventari will come in with their massive equipment and take everything." Grace Martinez, the Solaran engineer, nodded sadly. "This happens every time. We develop something useful and the Council finds a way to take it or control it." Noah leaned forward. "How do they justify it?" "Safety regulations, ecological concerns, cultural preservation," Frank said bitterly. "Always good-sounding reasons that just happen to keep the same old powers in control." "Have you considered leaving the Council?" Lisa asked quietly. Grace looked shocked. "No species has ever left voluntarily. The economic penalties would crush us. The Solarans only have 3 star systems. We need Council trade routes to survive." Noah and Lisa exchanged glances. 17 human systems suddenly seemed like a position of strength. The next day, scientist Alan Grant arrived from Earth, officially as a technical advisor to the human delegation. In reality, he was one of Earth's most brilliant minds with deep knowledge of technologies humanity had kept hidden. Noah briefed him quickly on the situation. "Remember, we're playing the long game here. We need to learn everything we can about how the Council operates while slowly revealing our capabilities." Alan smiled. "I understand. Time for a little strategic revelation." That afternoon, he joined Grace Martinez in the technical exchange section of the Council complex. Various species shared minor innovations there, nothing too valuable but enough to maintain the appearance of cooperation. Alan watched as Grace struggled with a quantum communication device, the kind the Council races used for faster-than-light communication. It was notoriously unreliable, with messages often becoming scrambled across vast distances. "Having trouble?" he asked casually. Grace sighed. "Always the same problem. Quantum entanglement degrades over interstellar distances. We've been trying to solve it for decades, but even the Ventari haven't figured it out completely." "Mind if I take a look?" Alan asked. Grace moved aside as Alan examined the device. After a few minutes of tinkering, he made what appeared to be a small adjustment. "Try it now." Grace ran a test. Her eyes widened as the results appeared on her screen. This is impossible. The signal integrity is nearly perfect." "Just a small modification to the phase alignment," Alan said modestly. A Ventari scientist working nearby had noticed the commotion. He came over, his skin flickering with patterns of disbelief as he saw the readings. "How did you do this?" "Our best minds have worked on this problem for centuries." Alan shrugged. Different perspective, I guess. Sometimes newcomers see things differently. Word spread quickly through the technical section. By evening, several council scientists were examining Alan's simple modification, something that would revolutionize interstellar communication. President Zaltor himself requested a briefing on the development. Noah watched with hidden satisfaction as the council leader struggled to maintain his condescending attitude while clearly reassessing the human's capabilities. 3 days later, an emergency occurred during a diplomatic reception. A Krell diplomat collapsed, his breathing labored. The Ventari medical team rushed in but seemed unsure how to proceed. His secondary heart is failing, one Ventari doctor said. We need to get him to a medical facility. He won't survive the transport, another replied. Dr. Olivia Wright, the human delegation's physician, stepped forward. May I help? The Ventari doctors looked skeptical, but moved aside as the diplomat's condition worsened. Olivia opened her medical kit and removed what looked like a simple handheld device. This is a cellular regenerator. We use it for emergency field medicine. She passed the device over the alien's chest. A soft blue light pulsed, and within moments, the Krell's breathing stabilized. The gathered diplomats watched in amazement as the alien's color returned to normal. Impossible, whispered one of the Ventari doctors. That level of cellular manipulation requires a full medical bay. Olivia helped the Krell to a sitting position. He'll be fine now, but I recommend a full examination when convenient. Later that evening, Noah received a message from Admiral Richardson. Protocol Omega, Phase 1 complete. All colonies now connected via secure quantum network. Untraceable. By Council Tech. Phase 2 ready for your signal. The next morning, the human delegation was approached by a Ventari official as they entered the council chamber. President Zaltor requests a private meeting with Ambassador Turner and Captain Clark, the official said. They were led to an opulent office with views of the swirling nebula beyond Centauri Prime. Zaltor sat behind a desk made from what appeared to be a single piece of some exotic crystal. Your people continue to surprise us, he said without preamble. The quantum communication breakthrough, the medical device. We're beginning to wonder what else humans have developed in their brief time among the stars. We're eager to share and learn, Lisa said diplomatically. Yes, about that. Zaltor's skin rippled with dark patterns. The Council has been discussing your situation. We believe your rapid expansion and technological development might benefit from guidance. Guidance? Noah asked. The Council is prepared to offer Earth a special relationship. We would establish administrative outposts in your key systems, advisors to help manage your growth in accordance with Council protocols. Lisa's face remained neutral, but Noah could see the tension in her shoulders. And what would Earth gain from this arrangement? Protection, stability, the Council's collected wisdom. Zaltor leaned forward. This is a generous offer, usually reserved for species we see great potential in. And if we decline? Noah asked. Zaltor's skin darkened. That would be unfortunate. Unguided development often leads to isolation, resource restrictions, limited access to Council space. Noah nodded slowly. We'll convey your offer to Earth immediately. As they left the meeting, Lisa whispered, Did he just threaten us? Yes, Noah replied, and reveal their real intentions. They don't want partners, they want to control us. Lisa's face hardened. Time for Phase 2? Noah nodded. I'll send the signal tonight. The humans were done playing by the Council's rules. The real game was about to begin. 6 months passed. The human delegation had established a routine on Centauri Prime. Each day, Noah and Lisa attended council sessions, carefully noting how decisions were made and which species held the real power. In private, they sent regular, encrypted updates to Earth using the advanced quantum network that remained undetectable to Council technology. Their friendship with the Solarans grew stronger. Frank and Grace often joined them in their quarters for meals, sharing stories and information that proved invaluable. Other minor species began to approach the humans too. cautiously at first, then with growing openness as word spread that the Earth delegation treated everyone with respect, regardless of their council status. One evening, as they shared a meal, with Frank and Grace, the Solaran diplomat looked troubled. "What's wrong?" Lisa asked, passing him a plate of food. Frank glanced at Grace before answering. "There are rumors. The council is planning to announce a new security initiative next week." "What kind of initiative?" Noah asked. "They're calling it the Protected Systems Protocol," Grace said quietly. "It would establish council military outposts in systems bordering regions of potential instability." Noah set down his drink. "Let me guess. Human space is considered potentially unstable." Frank nodded. "Your rapid expansion worries them. The technology you've revealed in the past months worries them even more." "Have they tried this before?" Lisa asked. "With the Tyranni," Grace confirmed. "A promising species about 300 years ago. They were expanding quickly, developing unique technologies. The council put protective bases in their key systems. Within 50 years, the Tyranni were completely dependent on council approval for everything." "Where are they now?" Noah asked. Frank's blue skin darkened. "Reduced to 2 systems. Their technology was absorbed by the major powers. They're barely mentioned in council records anymore." Noah and Lisa exchanged glances. This matched everything. They had learned about how the council operated, maintaining control through a combination of regulations, resource allocation, and, when necessary, direct intervention. "Thank you for the warning," Noah said. "We appreciate your friendship more than you know." After the Solarans left, Lisa activated their security field that blocked any possible surveillance. "This is it, Noah. They're making their move." Noah nodded grimly. "Time to contact home. If they announce this next week, we need to be ready." The council chamber was more crowded than usual. Representatives from all member species were present, along with observers like the humans. President Zaltor stood at the central platform, his iridescent skin gleaming under the lights. "Distinguished representatives," he began, "the council exists to maintain peace and order throughout known space. Today we address a matter of growing concern: the stability of the galactic rim, particularly in sectors adjacent to recently expanded territories." Noah sat very still, his face revealing nothing as Zaltor continued. "The council proposes the establishment of security outposts in strategic systems bordering human space. These outposts will ensure adherence to council protocols and provide assistance to our younger members as they continue their development." Lisa made notes on her tablet, her expression neutral despite the anger she felt. This was exactly what Frank had warned them about, the first step toward controlling human expansion. "The measure will be voted on immediately," Zaltor concluded. "As this is a security matter, only full council members may participate." The vote was quick and predictable. The major powers voted in favor, with only a few middle-tier species abstaining. None opposed. After the vote, Zaltor turned toward the human section. "The Earth delegation will be provided with details on implementation. The first outposts will be established within 30 days. Noah stood. "President Zaltor, the human delegation, requests permission to address the council." There was a murmur of surprise. Observer species rarely spoke during formal sessions unless specifically invited. Zaltor seemed amused. "This is irregular, but in the spirit of cooperation we will hear you." Noah walked to the speaking platform, his steps measured and calm. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of various representatives before speaking. "The Galactic Council represents a noble ideal, species from across the stars working together for common benefit. That is why Earth was honored to receive an invitation to join as observers." He paused, his voice remaining level and respectful. "However, in our 6 months here, we have observed that the reality differs from the ideal. We've seen that power remains concentrated among the founding species. We've seen resources allocated not by need or merit, but by status. We've seen observer species remain in that status for decades, even centuries, despite significant contributions." The chamber had gone completely silent. No one had expected such direct speech from a newcomer species. The human delegation must inform the Council that Earth cannot accept the placement of foreign military outposts in or near our territory. Such an action would violate our sovereignty and the rights of our colonies. Zaltor's skin flashed with dark patterns. Captain Clark, you misunderstand. These outposts are for your protection and guidance. With respect, President Zaltor, we understand perfectly, Noah replied. Earth formally requests full membership status in the Galactic Council, with voting rights equal to our contribution and territorial presence. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations. No observer species had ever made such a bold demand. Zaltor raised his hands for silence. This is highly irregular, he said, his voice colder now. Observer status is a necessary period of learning and integration. All species go through this phase. For how long? Noah asked. The Solarans have been observers for over 40 years despite significant technological and cultural contributions. Frank Williams stood from his section, breaking protocol. The human request is reasonable. The Solaran Republic supports full membership for Earth. A council guard moved toward Frank, but Noah continued speaking, drawing attention back to himself. We believe in cooperation between equals, President Zaltor, not dominance disguised as guidance. Earth is prepared to be a full partner in the Galactic Council, sharing our advances and learning from others. But we will not accept a subordinate position or surrendering our sovereignty. Zaltor's skin had turned almost black with anger, but his voice remained controlled. Captain Clark, this demand requires consideration. The Council will recess and vote on the matter of human membership status. The recess lasted barely 30 minutes. When the Council reconvened, Zaltor didn't bother hiding his satisfaction. The Council has voted unanimously to maintain Earth's observer status. Your request for full membership is denied. The Protected Systems Protocol will proceed, as approved. He looked directly at Noah. This is not a punishment, Captain, it is the natural order. New species must earn their place. Perhaps in a century or so, Earth will be ready for greater responsibility. Noah stood silent for a moment. Then he nodded to Lisa, who tapped a command into her tablet. President Zaltor, representatives of the Galactic Council, Noah said, his voice clear and calm. In light of this decision, I am authorized to deliver the following message. Earth and all human colonies hereby withdraw from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. The chamber erupted in chaos. Nothing like this had ever happened before. Zaltor's skin flashed with rapid patterns of shock and anger. You cannot withdraw. The consequences are ours to bear. Noah finished for him. The human delegation thanks the Council for its hospitality these past 6 months. Noah and Lisa calmly gathered their materials. Without raising their voices or showing any emotion, they walked toward the exit. Frank and Grace stood as they passed, offering silent support. As the doors closed behind the human delegation, the stunned silence in the chamber was broken by President Zaltor's voice. Let them go, he said dismissively. They will return when they realize they cannot survive alone in the galaxy. But something in his voice betrayed uncertainty. In all the Council's long history, no species had ever simply walked away. The humans had done something unprecedented, and in doing so they had changed the rules of a game thousands of years old. As Noah and Lisa boarded the Intrepid for the journey home, Lisa asked quietly, "Do they have any idea what's coming next?" Noah shook his head. No, and that's exactly how we want it. 2 weeks after the human delegation's departure, the Galactic Council tried to continue as if nothing significant had happened. President Zaltor assured the representatives that the humans would soon realize their mistake and beg to return. After all, no species could survive without Council trade routes and protection. They control only 17 systems, Zaltor told the inner circle of senior representatives. Their technology is basic. Their military presence is minimal. They will face economic collapse within months. But privately, many council members were not so sure. The diplomatic lounge buzzed with conversations about the humans' unexpected exit. Some saw it as foolish defiance. Others wondered if the humans knew something they didn't. They seemed too confident, a Krell diplomat said to his colleagues. Captain Clark didn't appear worried at all. President Zaltor called for reports on human activity. The first ones arrived within days. Human trading ships were withdrawing from Council space. Commercial offices on various planets were closing. The flow of goods from human worlds had stopped completely. As expected, Zaltor said dismissively, "They're having a tantrum. It will pass." But a week later, more concerning reports arrived. Human colonies near Council space were being evacuated. Massive transport ships moved people and equipment deeper into human territory. Long-range scouts reported unusual energy readings from key human systems. In the Council chamber, a Ventari military advisor displayed images of human space. These were taken 3 days ago. Notice the orbital platforms under construction around their colonies. Our analysts can't determine their purpose, but they appear to be defensive in nature. Defenses against whom? Asked a council member. We haven't threatened them. The advisor looked uncomfortable. Unknown. But the scale suggests they're preparing for something significant. Zalter's skin rippled with irritation. Enough of this. Send them a message. Tell them the council is willing to welcome them back with minimal penalties if they return now. The message was transmitted to Earth on all standard frequencies. The reply came not from Noah Clark or Lisa Turner, but from Admiral Kelly Richardson. It was brief and puzzling. "Thank you for your concern. We're doing fine." "What does that mean?" demanded Zaltor when the message was relayed to him. No one had an answer. Over the next few days, reports continued to arrive of unusual activity in human space. Large structures were appearing in orbit around their colonies. Fleet movements suggested coordinated military exercises on a scale that seemed impossible for a species so new to space travel. Council intelligence tried to gather more information, but human space had become strangely quiet. Communication beacons were silent. Sensor networks detected little traffic between human worlds, yet the energy readings suggested massive activity. Finally, the Council became concerned enough to send an investigative team to the edge of human territory. 3 ships, a Ventari cruiser and 2 support vessels, approached the border of human space cautiously. Their mission was to observe and report back, nothing more. The lead ship's captain, a veteran Ventari named Telvor, was recording his observations when the sensor officer called out in alarm. "Captain, energy spike ahead." The view screen showed only empty space, but the sensors told a different story. Massive power readings were appearing where nothing had been detected before. "Impossible," Telvor muttered. "There's nothing there." Then, as they watched, space itself seemed to ripple. A structure appeared where empty space had been moments before, a massive orbital platform at least 5 kilometers across. Then another appeared, and another. They were cloaked, the science officer said in disbelief. Technology that can hide objects that size doesn't exist. But clearly it did. As the Ventari ship maintained its position at the edge of human space, more structures became visible. A network of platforms connected by energy fields that the science officer said appeared to be some kind of dimensional barrier. "We're being scanned," the sensor officer reported suddenly. A communication request came through. On the screen appeared a human woman in a uniform they didn't recognize. "Ventari vessel, this is Commander Beth Wilson of the Earth Defense Network. You are approaching restricted space. Please state your purpose." Captain Telvor recovered his composure. "This is Captain Telvor of the Galactic Council. We are on a routine patrol. These structures were not here on our last survey." The human smiled slightly. "Yes, they were. You just couldn't see them before. We've decided there's no point hiding them anymore." "What is this technology?" Telvor asked, professional curiosity overcoming his surprise. "A dimensional phase shield. It allows our defensive network to exist slightly out of sync with normal space until activated. Very useful for keeping our borders secure." The implications hit Telvor like a physical blow. If humans had technology that could hide massive structures from Council sensors, what else might they have been hiding? "You may observe from your current position," Commander Wilson continued. "But be advised that crossing the boundary will be considered a hostile act." The communication ended. Captain Telvor ordered his crew to gather all possible data. After 6 hours of observation, the small fleet returned to Centauri Prime with their report. President Zaltor called an emergency session of the full council. The chamber was sealed, and all recording devices were disabled. Captain Telvor presented his findings along with sensor data and visual records of the human defensive network. "It's not just the cloaking technology that concerns us," said the Ventari science advisor after reviewing the data. "The power readings from those platforms suggest energy generation capabilities far beyond what humans should possess, and the quantum signature of their communication systems indicates technology we've never seen before." "How is this possible?" demanded a senior council member. "They were barely space-capable a century ago." "I believe," said Captain Telvor carefully, "that they have been deliberately hiding their true capabilities since first contact." The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. "We've underestimated them," Zaltor said finally. "But why the deception? What purpose did it serve?" And Yairi, Elder Krell representative known for his wisdom, spoke up. "Put yourself in their position. A young species discovers the galaxy is populated by older civilizations. They learn quickly how the council treats newcomers. They see how other species remain trapped in observer status for centuries. What would you do?" "Keep your true capabilities hidden," another representative answered. "Watch, learn the rules, then make your move when you're ready." President Zaltor's skin had turned a deep blue, a sign of serious concern among the Ventari. "We need more information. Dispatch intelligence teams to all systems bordering human space. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." Over the next week, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Council intelligence operatives, diplomats, and scientific teams all contributed pieces to a puzzle that grew more disturbing by the day. Humans had not just hidden their defensive capabilities, they had concealed entire branches of technology. Dimensional engineering that allowed them to hide massive structures. Quantum manipulation that made their communications untraceable. Energy generation systems that defied council understanding. "How did we miss this?" Zaltor demanded in a private meeting with his advisors. "They showed us exactly what they wanted us to see," said his chief intelligence officer. "They presented themselves as an eager young species, just happy to be invited. To the table, we saw what we expected to see, and now we know they are at least equal to the oldest council races in several key technologies, possibly superior in some areas." Zaltor looked out at the stars visible through his office window. What are they planning? Why reveal themselves now? "Perhaps they're not planning anything aggressive," suggested a junior advisor. "Maybe they truly just wanted to be treated as equals." Zaltor's skin darkened. No one develops technology in secret unless they intend to use it. He turned back to his staff. "Call an emergency session. The full council must know what we're facing." As his advisors left, Zaltor remained at the window. For the first time in his long career, he felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Not of human weapons or technology, but of change. The Galactic Council had operated the same way for thousands of years. Now humans had changed the rules. "We may have made a grave miscalculation," he said quietly to the empty room. 1 year after the humans walked out of the council chamber, a massive ship appeared near Centauri Prime. The station's sensors detected its approach only when it was already close, far too late for any defensive response. The ship was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest council vessel. Its design was sleek and powerful, clearly human in origin, but unlike anything they had revealed before. The council chamber was filled with tension as representatives from all species gathered. President Zaltor stood at the central platform, trying to appear calm though his skin flickered with nervous patterns. "The human vessel has requested permission to dock," announced a Ventari official. "They say they bring a diplomatic delegation. Allow them to dock," Zaltor ordered, "but double the security teams." When the doors to the chamber opened, many representatives gasped. Noah Clark walked in, but not as the captain they remembered. He now wore the formal uniform of a high ambassador, with insignia that suggested authority far beyond what they had imagined. Behind him walked Lisa Turner and a small group of human officials. "Hi, Ambassador Clark," Zaltor said, using the title displayed on Noah's uniform. "The Council welcomes your return." Noah nodded politely. "President Zaltor, representatives of the Galactic Council, thank you for agreeing to meet with us." "Have you come to request readmission as observers?" Zaltor asked, trying to regain some control of the situation. Noah smiled slightly. "No, President Zaltor. We have come to propose a new beginning." He gestured, and one of his aides activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed a complex diagram of interconnected systems. For thousands of years, the Council has operated on principles of age and tradition. Those with the longest history hold the most power. Those principles have created stability, but also stagnation. Noah walked around the display, making eye contact with representatives from various species. Humanity chose to withdraw rather than accept a subordinate position. We didn't leave to isolate ourselves, but to demonstrate that there is another way. The hologram changed to show 3 distinct crisis points in Council space. A planet suffering from a devastating plague, a failing terraform project, and a distant region where strange energy readings were appearing. "We bring solutions, not threats," Noah continued. "A cure for the Krell plague that has devastated 3 worlds, a method to stabilize the failing ecosystem on Vantis Prime, and a defense against an extragalactic probe that your sensors haven't detected yet but will reach Council space within 2 years." Murmurs spread through the chamber. President Zaltor stood straighter. "These claims are difficult to believe." "Test them," Noah replied simply. "Our ship carries the necessary materials and data." A commotion arose from one section of the chamber. Frank Williams of the Solaran Republic stood, along with representatives from several other mid-tier species. "The Solaran Republic supports the human proposal," Frank announced clearly. "We have been working with Earth for the past year. Their approach to cooperation has already benefited our people more than centuries of Council membership." "President," Zaltor's skin darkened with alarm as he realized what was happening. "You've been forming alliances." "We've been building partnerships," Noah corrected, "based on mutual respect and shared advancement. Today, we announce the formation of the Galactic Alliance, a new cooperative body open to all species who wish to join." The Council chamber erupted into chaos. Some representatives shouted accusations. Others whispered urgently to their colleagues. Several rose from their seats to approach the human delegation. As Zaltor struggled to restore order, Noah stood calmly at the center of the storm. He caught Lisa's eye, and she smiled slightly. They had known this moment would come. The moment when the old order began to crumble. By day's end, 17 Council species had requested information about joining the new alliance. By the end of the week, that number had doubled. The ancient powers of the Council finally understood what had happened. When humans walked out that day 1 year ago, it truly was over. Not just for human participation, but for the old order itself. The future would belong to those who could build bridges, not walls. And humanity, the newcomers who refused to be controlled, would help lead the way.